Well, hello again and welcome. Welcome to Joyful Mondays. Every Monday we come to you with a featured guest speaker, and I can hardly wait. So just contain yourself as I have to do because we are going to be talking about a subject that's important today. I am Joy Ruffin, and the work that I do is as a leadership and style consultant, a signature style specialist, speaker, executive producer, TV host, and podcaster. I also work as a personal development strategist, and we're going to be talking a lot about that today. But today, the topic that I want to begin and share with you, and if I didn't say welcome, I can never say it enough. It's always good to have you here with us, whether you're here now or you come for the replay. We're going to be talking about original, creative, and imaginative. And you know that my love for quotes is real. And so it's great today because we're going to be talking a lot about you. And my featured guest speaker has something that's going to amaze and excite you. But let's talk about creative, original, imaginative. Here's something that was said, a quote by John Mason that I know you're going to love. He said, "You were born an original. Don't die a copy." John Mason. We're going to be talking a lot about this in a different style, a different way. You know, style is one of our major words here because style applies to everything. But isn't that the truth? Because that's what it's about. You came here and you're here to be an original, to be you. And we've all heard the expression, the best you. And then what ties in with that? Be yourself. An original is always worth more than a copy. Stacy Kasem, Kassem, I think. And you know, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the classics and Orson Welles, but he started with that, be yourself, be an original, everyone else is taken. So people have taken it and segued and danced with it in different ways, but that's what originality and creativity is all about. That's when you begin to use your imagination. And that's what we're going to be talking a lot about today. No one said it better, my friends. No one said it better than Albert Einstein, no matter what camp or group of strata you're in. Creativity is intelligence, having fun. Well, here we like to have fun. We like laughter. We like humor. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. So all you have to do is just sit back and relax. And this is by one of my favorite mentors. I haven't worked with her personally, but I've kind of been on the sidelines and I tune in when I can. But here's what she had to say, and I'll give you her name later. She said, "There is no innovation and creativity without failure." The one and only Brené Brown. Because it's true. I think for those, and I was in this camp, we look for perfection. We look to have everything, blah, 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 just so. Well, in a way, that's good. You focus, you stay on point. But every now and then, it's going to be a hit and a miss. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about today with my featured guest speaker is ways that you can somewhat offset. And then when you offset, if you find it wasn't what you thought, then you can segue and try and attempt something else. And that's what we're going to talk about. Because imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagination is a language of the soul. So pay attention to your imagination, and you will discover all you need to be fulfilled. My friends, I've been around and around numerous times, and I can tell you that this is true. It takes time, it takes diligence, it takes continuous effort and focus on what you love, and ultimately it will come to you. There are a lot of other elements involved, but that's the base bottom line. And that was, again, Albert Einstein. As my momsy would say, anybody with half a brain, a noodle, so on and so forth, I tie them together, would really know what that is all about. Master the three, and you're on your way. Today's guest will share this with you to support you with all that you are a part of. That's what my featured guest speaker is going to be talking about in a different way, because what he came up with, something that implements and supports you to make an impact on what you're doing. So what I want you to do is this. I'm going to take a quick little reset, and I'm going to share with you something that I do every week because we want you with us. We want you to be a member and join my Leading Ladies Leaving Legacies Facebook group. We need your knowledge there. We need your vision, we need your mission, and your purpose. And you need to be, and we want you to be, you're invited to be a part of this community. We are not sexist. That's why I'm doing Joyful Monday, because bring men and women on this show together or separate, because we want to expose and expand rather out to any and all and everyone. And I always end, and we're going to share a little bit about that today with my featured guest speaker, know thyself. That's why my freebie to you, offered to you, if you're not familiar, it's from Human Design. It gives you lots of pieces to the puzzle of you. You go on this treasure hunt and you find the little pieces that are all about you. That's what it's about. And I want to put up my featured guest speaker's poster. And I just want you to take a screenshot, take a snapshot. This yes test is awesome. I took it, and you're invited to take it. So take a screenshot or a snapshot, and we'll put it up once again towards the end. But now, my friends, what I want you to do is just sit back and be relaxed. But before I bring up my featured guest speaker, I want to share a little bit with you about him. Now, this special guest, featured guest speaker today, his name is Brian Gregory. You know, I meet so many people, I forget how and where I met them. But he is the founder of the Yes Test. Now, it had a name before that was hard to pronounce, and I'm not going to even attempt. I'll have him pronounce it when he comes up. But they changed it to the Yes Test, and it's so fitting. It's a breakthrough 5-minute business analysis, which many of you have no doubt heard of. But yet, we're going to talk a lot about it today. And Brian has a lot more information that I could share with you. But I know you. You want to see him. You want to hear, and you want to find out what he's all about. So I'm going to ask my engineer to bring up my featured guest speaker, Brian Gregory. And I say, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you, my friend.
Hello, Joy. It's awesome to be here.
I'm glad to have you here, because you know already that I took your test and I found it mind-boggling and wonderful in the best way. So tell us, why did you start the Yes Test? How was it created? Tell us a little bit about it. I want to get people excited about all the options that are available to them.
Oh, thank you. You know, I think like a lot of innovative things, it was forged in the fires of altruism initially, because I was in the publishing business, and people would send in advertising, and we'd put it in our publications. And majority of the time, the ads did not work, and then they would cancel those ads. And you know, this went on for 20 years as I was running these magazines, and it got so disheartening to see people spend money, and they would create an ad that they thought was good, and it wasn't. But they didn't know any better. So, you know, they were just doing the best they could, like all of us out there. And they would call up and cancel. And of course, we would lose money. We'd have to replace the ad. And it was just a cycle that just never ended. And I decided when we got to the point where we sold the publications, that I would work on the next project, which would be, could there be a test that anyone could take in 5 minutes that would show them exactly what should be in their marketing and their advertising from this point on? It would reveal why people would say yes to them in the marketplace, which is, if you think about it, one of the most amazing pieces of knowledge you could ever have about your business, your brand, your product, your service. Why is somebody going to say yes to this? And that began a 7-year journey. Now, to be honest, I don't know if I'd have known it was going to be 7 years, if I would I have stuck with it? I don't know. It turned out to be, that's how long it took to create something that had never been done before. There was no model previously to follow. I couldn't copy anything or get any hints. And what we studied was the greatest ads ever in advertising.
Wow.
And because that was a fact, that happened, and it happened on thousands of occasions, and it happened in the real market, on real people, in real times, and it was recorded. It's not theory. From that database of information of why these ads were so successful when previous ads had failed, we started to create an algorithm based on the winning elements of the best ads ever created by some of the most brilliant ad creative people in the world. And we realized that patterns were forming, repetitive patterns. The
Yeah.
same emotions were being used over and over in the same patterns of these winning ads. And those patterns were not present in the ads that had previously failed them. And what we found is when they hit the right formula, the ad just, skyrocketed the brand. It was like night and day. There was no question that they had a home run on their hands. They may not have understood at the time why it was such a hit. Some of these ads are 100 years old that we studied, but they worked, and they work every time they're tried. And the analogy I give you, I guess this makes the most sense, is there's a reason why everyone likes James Bond.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
even the women, Brian. Yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean, if they changed James Bond on you, you'd be pretty upset, because that's not what you want from a James Bond movie. You want the same thing every time, right? I want it exactly like the last 29 James Bond movies, because I like that. Mm-hmm. It's the same in advertising. There are patterns you like that will please you, please not only you, but the buyers. And that's what you really want to find out. And that's what the yes test does. So that's how it all came to be.
I love how you started, Brian. Forged in fire, that innovative spark, that listening to and bringing all of this research and all of this together. You said there's something here that we need to tap. And so you spent 7 years getting to that formula. And all of this information that you shared, I mean, it's interesting because I just saw a quote not too long ago, which relates and ties into exactly what you shared. You don't want to be different. Different is easy. You want to be outstanding. So what you've done is you brought something to the table that will add to those who want to promote what they're doing and give them the edge, because the patterns are given. They're a definite shoe in. That in itself is, and it is a science, isn't it? I mean, the emotions are there, but there's that element of all of the research, or maybe I need to ask you, all of this research that you did and all of this bringing it together and getting the patterns together and seeing what stood out, emotions, I'm thinking, you correct me or share with me, was that the number one key element that came in that resonates with people when they receive and get the ads, movies, or whatever it might be?
Yes, it is absolutely. In fact, it's in some ways the only thing that will move the needle in marketing, advertising, copywriting. Let's just call all of that stuff marketing, sales, and all the stuff we're all trying to do.
Yes.
People only buy on emotion, period. There has never been a logical purchase decision. They're all emotionally inspired. And so you see these commercials on the TV every night, and they're there to arouse the emotions within us, not to educate us on the product. It's not all about the product. It's about the feeling of the product that sells it. And this brings up just a point I want to make. The biggest mistake I see in small business owners and marketers is they focus on the product, the price, the quality, all the aspects and the features and the benefits of the product. Mm. It's not about the product. Skittles tells you to taste the rainbow. I mean, there's no product there. It's a rainbow. You can't, it's a silly request that cannot be done. And yet they make billions of dollars. For 20 years, that's been the slogan. Now, why would they do that? Because rainbows are fun and happy. And it makes you feel something light and pleasant. And they don't even talk about the candy. It's taste the rainbow. So the subconscious mind processes emotions. And so your ad must speak to the subconscious mind of the recipient or the viewer or the listener. As soon as it goes into the conscious brain, the one we're using now, the analytical brain, the smart brain, the one we all want to feel like Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
As soon as it goes into that area, that part of the court, you can forget about the ad being effective ever again, because now we're thinking, we're poking holes in it, we're criticizing, we're analyzing, we're checking it out on Google, we're double checking, making sure, verifying. And that's not emotional, and that's not going to sell products. So
It,
it's important.
that's fascinating for me, Brian, for so many reasons, because I'm at this stage now. Is that where the science and the patterns and the emotions, how getting to the emotions, you had to do all of that research for the 7 years, the science of the research of it, and the patterns that came up. The key element was that it relates and touches your emotions, the subconscious. Was that the key element? And then how did you come to that? All of the research that you did, which is the scientific part of it, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little weird, isn't it? To use a math algorithm to determine human emotionality, right? They don't seem like they would be very compatible. And believe me, when we were doing these algorithms, we were beginning to believe that maybe this couldn't be done because the first 74 algorithms failed. And when each algorithm takes a week to build, that's 74 weeks of failure consecutive. And you start to doubt whether, is this thing even possible? Because we take 2 steps forward and 4 steps back all the time.
Mm.
And algorithm 75 worked. And, we screamed, yay. I mean, it was unbelievable because it had been years just to create the algorithms. And what we found is there's 15 emotions
Wow.
that rule human purchase decision making. If you destruct the best ads of all time and look inside them, what are they triggering? What are they really trying to do here? You'll see that these 15 emotions are in there, some of them every time. And it depends what kind of product you have as to which type of emotions will work best for you, because you don't need all 15 in an ad. You just need 2. We found they all had 2. And it comes down to one of the simplest formulas in the known science world.
Oh,
1 plus 2 equals 3. It's the only place where 2 sequential numbers add up to the third, because 2 plus 3 doesn't equal 4. 1 plus 2 equals 3. One emotion plus a second equals a third. It triggers the third. The third is your company, your product. That's the emotion that will sell it. And we found that there was 2 emotions triggering a third, and that was the buying emotion, the one that makes you want it.
Is that based on the item that you're buying? Would the top key emotions, and people have to take this test to find out, but would the top key emotion be the same for purchasing a car as for purchasing a piece of jewelry or purchasing a pair of shoes? Would the emotion be the same? And how do you determine that? Or is there a key to that?
It could be, but I'm going to tell you it probably isn't. For example, a car. Is it a
Yeah.
used car? If it's a used car, it's a value-based decision. I'm probably going to buy on price. If it's a brand new Lexus, we're going to buy on prestige. If it's a Lamborghini, we're buying on envy. Okay. So there are different degrees, even within product lines. A temptation brand, that could be the Marlboro Man, cigarettes, or beer, or it could be candy. To a child, candy is a temptation brand. To an adult, it might be a steak dinner at a nice restaurant. And so you have to get to the root core of what is your emotion, your base emotion of your company, your product. That's what the test does. It shows you the rich, chewy center of your brand. From there, we can tell you everything about strategy, tactics, formulas, words, colors, even the gifts you should buy your customers if you do that.
Fascinating for me because I love puzzles and quizzes and games and all of that stuff. But I have this question. There are no stupid questions in my camp. So is there one top of the first and the second key top emotions that come about most of the time? Is that number one motion pretty much the same for any and all types of buying, or will it vary and be different?
It will vary and be different. You could say maybe urgency, fear of loss comes up a lot, but
Uh-huh.
that's only on like a sale event or a limited time only type of offer. You'd be surprised how many other triggers there are to get somebody to buy something. It doesn't have to be the last one on the shelf, get it now or lose it forever type of situation. It's one of the most overused, but it doesn't have to be that way. We can get somebody to buy on trust. We can get them to buy on happiness. We can get them to buy on community or belonging to the right group, the approval of the group. We can get them to buy on fear. We can get them to buy on excitement, or perhaps temptation, or ego, envy, greed, attraction, change, transformation, innovation, and altruism, doing the right thing. These are the major triggers that have caused humans to buy everything. If you're looking in, if you're in a room right now, look around the room. Mm-hmm. Everything in there you purchased emotionally. And you might say, oh, come on, Brian, now I've got a box of paper clips here. You're going to tell me I bought this box of paper clips emotionally? And I'm going to say, absolutely, you did. You either like the shape of the box, the size of the box, you like the price of the paper clips. Maybe it was the last one on the shelf, so it was greedy. You grabbed it and ran to the cash register. Maybe it's a brand you trust, you've trusted your whole life, so it's a trust decision. Yes, even a box of paper clips has the mind, the subconscious mind has to help us out to make that choice.
Oh my goodness. Brian, I knew all, I think we all do in a way, but then to hear it resonating back to us in a way, it makes all the difference. And I have this question because I feel I know the answer, but for some reason, it never entered my brain that the fear of loss would be a buying trigger. Would that be like for life insurance or funeral expenses? What is the fear of loss? What type of product is one promoting with the fear of loss?
You see it often in online products. For example, you got a funnel and there's a sale event online, and whoever's promoting their latest little widget, you got to get it now. Time is always running out. So fear could be there. Fear could be an auction. eBay is based on getting the product before somebody else does. Time is running out. Game shows are based on that. There's never enough time on a game show. So fear is important, but it's just one of the 15. The way we see it, it can be part of your brand in a big way or almost not at all. For example, you wouldn't want to, if you were a doctor, you wouldn't want people making decisions based on fear. That just sounds like they'd be making the wrong type of decision, right? You want them making decisions based on trust,
right, and
certainty and security and comfort. And so every brand is different.
Yes,
we stopped guessing. We when we came out with the test, we thought it'd be fun to kind of say, oh, we know how this is going to turn out. We can see how this one's going to turn out, and we'd be wrong. And the test analyzes 1,600 variables in 5 minutes using just true/false questions. So it's the easiest test in the world to take, but there's a lot going on, and it'll blow your mind when you try it.
Well, yes, it did mine. But let me ask you this: and there are 15 emotions. Do you share those 15 emotions when one takes the test, or is that a whole different kind of thing? Is that something that's kept within your circle?
What the test will show you is your key, your trigger, the biggest emotion of most importance for you. Mm-hmm. And it teaches you about that, because you need to know thyself, right? You've got to know what you are, because what we're basically showing you is what your customer wishes you'd be saying to them, what their deepest desire wishes you'd be like, look like, sound like. That's what they want to buy, but they don't have the wherewithal to say it to you. Because again, this is all subconscious. And so the test will analyze you from the inside, where like I said, the rich, chewy center of your brand resides. And it's so important. Now, from there, we know how to use the other 14. And we don't give that to you in the test result, because that's a pretty robust answer. And that is something we offer for an additional fee. But it's a mind blower as well. If you want to go down the rabbit hole and really know your brand inside and out, do it. It'll be great.
Absolutely. I found it very much eye-opening, and it didn't surprise me. It awakened something that was just there, because it was like dormant, like the seed. But what is your company's mission ultimately? And we are going to end, the time flies here. We have 5 minutes, but I'm going to tie in your company's mission with, I want you to tell us more about the free test. And my, towards the end here in a moment or two, she'll put up your graphic again. But what is the mission and what is it? I think you've already spoken to it, Brian, but elaborate a wee bit more on what is it, your ultimate aim and goal that you want to leave with the people who come to you.
We're never told in school what you'll learn from the test. School just doesn't teach this stuff. In fact, if you really want to find out the emotional triggers of your brand, what will make people buy it, you have two choices. You can go to an ad agency and they will do a fine job and they will charge you a fine price. Or you can take the free yes test, because emotional is not something you can just throw a dart at and say,
No.
oh, well, that's emotional, that'll work. It won't. There's certain emotions in certain scenarios, in certain products that work every time. You need to find out what yours are. So our mission is to educate and elevate small business people so that they have that kind of information, because only 1% will hire an agency. That's a real fact. 99% of us don't have the money. To do that, our primary mission is to give away 1 million free tests to help raise the bar of awareness. There you go, right there, freeyestest.com.
I love that. Yes, keep that up for a second. Go ahead, Brian.
Go to freeyestest.com. It takes 5 minutes. True, false questions about your business. It's very simple, very easy, very quick, painless, easy to do. No financial questions, nothing like that. This is a fun test to take. And in 5 minutes, we'll show you what your brand should be centered around if you want to be successful. And it is the difference between the brands that win and the brands that fail. If you look at the brands on TV, all emotional selling. The Budweiser commercials with the dogs and the horses and the puppies and the, all of this, the heartstring ads that you see in the Super Bowl and the humor. This is all emotion. The people that sell on facts don't sell much. So you want to sell on emotion. We're going to show you how to do it. The first language of humanity was emotions. Before words and sentences and grammar and writing things on tablets, there was only emotional communication. Can only imagine what that was like. But that is in your DNA. It is still there. That caveman lives inside all of us, right? And so we have to get to the rich, chewy center of ourselves and our brand so that we can do better, sell more, and help more. The mission of every business.
Oh, my goodness. I love that, Brian. You started us off and you're ending us with just pure, yummy, delicious stuff. Forged in fire is how you came to this. And then by getting to this, you're able to deliver to those who wish to partake. And I don't know, as Momsy would say, anybody out there would have a brain who would not want to get to that rich, chewy center. I mean, who does not want that? So I just think it's fantastic. I love what you're doing. I love the work that you're about. And I'm here to always be celebrating and applauding you because, again, because of my love for puzzles and quizzes and humor and all of that, I love it. And you have really given us lots of information to think about and to participate in. So I thank you from my heart to yours. Much love. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is going to be in the green room. You are more than welcome, and I'll be with you in just a second. Friends, what can I tell you? He's offering a free test. And let me tell you, I took this test. It's well worth your investment and time taking it, and then your decision of how you want to proceed. But Brian has spent a lot of time, a lot of love, and all the other elements to get this test to us. And I think it behooves you not to partake. But in the meantime, I say this every week, don't I? Of course I do. Make this one of the best weeks ever. Make it one of the best. Share your love with any, every, and all. And because I'm sending to you always much, much love from my heart to yours. Enjoy this week and all the best always. Cheers.